Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 584 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm host as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'll tell you what, man. I'm feeling all right now. Past couple days, very much like crazy. Very much like the kind of stuff that you would kind of expect, from like a retail person inside of working on Black Friday. Only for me this year it was, oh hey, your main cashier called out sick. What are we gonna do? There's only like a few of us inside here. It's like, oh hey, Gables, why don't you go forth and man the front for the till and stuff like that. And so that's proceeded with like 2 days straight of a lot of customers, a lot of people going through buying a whole bunch of different things for clothing, like glassware, Christmas stuff.
Mm.
And needless to say, it was long winded. My days literally went by super quick to the point to where yesterday I came in I came in around 8:30. It felt like I was there for like 2 hours because it was just nonstop to the wall. It was just crazy as shit. But did have a good Thanksgiving. That was fine. Absolutely love the fact that on Thanksgiving Day, and so the Niners absolutely took out the Seahawks.
Yep.
Which, you know what, it was. I'll say this perfectly honestly here, dude. It was so freaking hysterical to me that after that game was over and that post game like interview and stuff when they have with the whole like the players and stuff, the turkey, that you see literally like the freaking babyface Brock Purdy go through has this big old freaking like chicken leg or somebody's taking a bite of. You see a freaking Kittle just taking the damn bird and like going all the way back.
Mm.
Hey, dude, you want this thing? Just tossing like freaking turkey legs into the crowd. Like one dude just drops it and stuff, and you see the freaking like Niners fans in Seattle just like freaking just chomping on shit. It was like a freaking sight to behold, man. But yeah, that was fairly enjoyable from that aspect, though. But other than that, though, I did end up picking up a couple of things after work yesterday for from Black Friday stuff. So picture the scene here. I go into my local Walmart. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll have something here, that I may want to pick up. So look at the selection. There was obviously a lot of like the big old like big name things. Oh, Madden is like $35. Oh, Modern Warfare 3 is like $10 off. Oh, Diablo 4 or something like that. That's got like maybe $10 off or whatsoever, $60 or something, which honestly, when you think about when you're doing your whole checking for shopping, that's a horrible deal because even the digital stuff or on the storefronts like PSN, Xbox, and even on Steam is like 42.
Yeah,
But
it'll be on Game
I
Pass in
digress.
months. So,
But the worst of all, man, it's like I was looking at some of the selections, like, man, okay, there's Mortal Kombat 1 that's like about 50 and stuff. I'm not interested in playing that right now. It's like you see Assassin's Creed Mirage. That's down to 40. I mean, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. That game just came out.
yeah.
And no interest in playing that. On top of that, a lot of things were picked through, but I managed to find not one, but two games. And for pretty good prices too. So one I got for about $30. This is a Switch game. Kirby's Return to Dreamland.
Oh, cool.
So that one I picked up for $30.
Okay.
And the other one I got for 35, also for Switch, Sonic Superstars.
Next time you say anything bad about Last of Us Part Two, Gables, I want you to remember this moment right here where you spent $35 on a shit Sonic game. Okay.
Oh,
Remember,
hey, what do
remember,
you know?
remember.
But at the same point, man, it's like I picked up two games. I mean, after during the slog of yesterday, I felt like I needed to treat myself. So I freaking went through, got both of these games. I spent like maybe God, what was it like? Maybe 65, maybe $70 like max or something for both of those games together. Oh, same price as like a game release new for $70 and stuff. But both games released this year. I have been starting a little bit on one of the two and stuff. So let's just say, yeah, this week it's been like 50-50. But anyways, how have you been this week, Tyler?
I'm all right. Been busy. Thanksgiving, doctor appointments, work's just getting nuts. That time of year for me where I think after this weekend I have like 3 days off the rest of the pretty much till Christmas, so it's gonna be pretty shitty. But
Yeah.
they're not. I'm doing all right. Clanging and banging as always. Yeah, working the Friday after having Thursday off, Gables just sucks. Just
Yeah.
sucks. And you got people at home just happy. It's like, oh, gee, I wonder what that's like. The fucking football's on. Iowa's playing. I can't watch the Iowa Hawkeye game. Um, Iowa
Oh
Hawkeyes
yeah.
now 5-0 against Purdy's, which just feels pretty good. Um, Brock Purdy's younger brother plays for Nebraska.
Yeah.
Beat the shit out of that little fucker. Um, but So yeah, but other than that, I'm doing all right. Clanging and banging is all. I did make one pickup on Black Friday, and mainly because
Um.
I had like GameStop reward points that expire on the first, so I was like, I gotta
Yeah.
spend them before they go bad. So I got an additional $25 off. So I picked up one game, Gables here,
Yeah. What'd you pick up, man?
Street Fighter 6.
What?
Yeah. 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 On,
Okay. Okay. Now I am actually kind of like I'm kind of perplexed right here. It's like, what convinced you that you wanted to go and buy this?
well, two reasons. A, it was like $40, and then
Okay.
I had $25 in GameStop money that was gonna go away. And I
Yeah.
didn't know what else to buy. So I'm like, I kind of like it was like the game I'm most interested in playing out of like what I had like,
Hmm.
because I was looking around. I'm like, I can, there's some older games I was like kind of looking at, and I was like, what sucks is like you can't buy something less than $25 because I was like, I could just buy Near Automata on the Xbox or something, but it was like $15. I was like, can't do that. Um, so it was like I was thinking about getting Dying Light 2, or not Dying Light, Dead Island 2, but it was still 50. So I was like, I
Mm.
don't, I don't,
Mm.
I'm like, I don't want, I'll wait for that. That game's gonna be $20 probably in 6 months or something. So, that's why, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. So I got it for $15 basically when it was all said and done. So, yeah, that's why I played a little bit. I by a little bit I mean I literally did like 3 matches and got my character made. So that's all I've done so far in that. But I played a couple other games
Mm.
this week. But yeah, that's really it for me. Thanksgiving was nice. Went over to my parents' house and had dinner with my parents and my sister and ate some good food and then came home and ate way too much pie. Watched some football and then yeah, it was nice and then been kind of a nice little day to day. Been a very productive day to day. You know, went finally had to get all the winter shit out because the temperature
Mm.
dropped drastically
Oh boy.
from Thursday to Friday and now we got fucking snow, Gables. And so yeah, finally got all the winter shit out, clean up the closets a little bit here. Sorry, Mama. And yeah, no, they're not. Doing okay, Gables. Clanging and banging as always here. But
Dude.
yeah,
I think it's kind of interesting that inside of your state, plus where you live at and stuff, you're finally getting like some bit of snow, and then like here in the Pacific Northwest, this past week it's been kind of weird and stuff because it's been cold, but at the same point, I had my mom literally like text me during my lunch break, like one time this week or something, say, "Hey, I just got back from the outside. I was being chased by a freaking wasp." But I'm thinking to myself, it's like it's the middle of November. A
yeah.
fucking wasp is
December is
going
next
around.
week.
Exactly. Exactly, Tyler. This is how crazy it's been in terms of weather-wise up here, to where it's still super warm. That not only certain insects are freaking still around, like kind of active, maybe not as much as say in the summer, but I look outside, all the plants, like the crops and stuff, the vegetables I planted, my fucking jalapeno pepper plants, dude, are still alive in this
Gross.
weather.
Gross. I hate jalapenos. They're the Sonic of vegetables.
Dude, but they're still freaking awesome.
No, they're
They're
not.
still good,
No, they're not. No, no,
especially on bagels.
no, no. They're at best mediocre, which is what at the high
Dude,
points, and at worst they're Sonic 06. So
nothing tastes as good as a
you
jalapeno
know,
cheese bagel.
no,
Oh, with some cream
no,
cheese, dude.
no,
Oh.
no, 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 not at all. Absolutely garbage food. It's all garbage. Them and the onions. Get rid of them. Ban them. Cancel them. I just did. Canceled them. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah. Believe it or not, people, this is a video game podcast where Gables and I get together every week and talk about video games. And yeah, so if you like all this for whatever reason, please like, follow, subscribe. We're on YouTube every week. Usually post Sunday mornings along with on every podcast service that you can think of. We're on it. If there's one that we're not on that you might use, please hit us up on a comment on YouTube or wherever. Facebook, Twitter, one of those places. We're on Twitch as well. Um, Check us out in all those places. Like, follow, subscribe, 5-star reviews, leave comments, likes, thumbs up, shares with your friends. Share is probably the best thing you can do for us. We really appreciate it. We're just two guys get together every week, talk about video games. We have full-time jobs, so we don't get paid for this. We pay money to do this rather. So if
Yeah,
you
we really do.
yeah, so if you guys could help us out a little bit, get us out there a little bit more, we would appreciate it. And we've been doing this for a little over a decade now, and hey, it'd be nice to get some little love and support out there as well. So yeah, but get together every week, and we have a couple. Well, I have a couple beers, and then Gables makes fun of me. So that's kind of the podcast. So he's Gables kind of an ass. Not gonna lie to people. But anyways,
But
go ahead.
I will say, Tyler, before we move on and stuff, if you are going to be really getting into Street Fighter 6, one word of advice: try out the multiple different kinds of characters and stick with the one that you want to play.
Um, what's the one that starts with the C? The one girl, the new girl,
Cammy.
Cammy. Now done. I'm in. I saw her. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm in. That's all I need. Cammy. That's my girl. I'm not trying out anybody. I don't care. I'll suck as her. Yeah, I almost said something much worse. So, but we're just gonna end there.
That was like one beer away from it sounding
Gables
completely out of right field.
3 sips away from much worse. Anyways, this week we're doing a little something special here. It's been it's been the holiday week, so Gables and I decided to say the prediction for the Game Awards nominations to this week, and I'm so glad we did that because there ain't shit for game news. Well, there's been very little, but so we decided to do it this week. If you are watching us on YouTube, here, if I got this set, oh, wrong thing. Oh God, there we go, got it. This is here. We're doing a little share screen here. You can see we're gonna kind of do our prediction show here for the nominations for not every single category. We're skipping like content creator of the year because quite frankly, the last 6 years I think I've known like one person of everybody here. I feel very it's definitely one of those things where I feel the oldest. Some of these because I'm like I don't know who the fuck any of these people are.
Let's be perfectly frank though. For that content creator stuff, we're not going to really vote on it because we know there's going to be like at least this is what occurs with that category every year. There's one super popular person out of that entire thing, and usually that person wins. This year's it's Iron Mouse, so it's like we're not even going to bother.
Yeah, I don't even know who the fuck Gables explained to me who Iron Mouse was before the podcast, and I kind of wish he just never did because it was quite upsetting for me. I don't know if they're good.
No, she's super nice though.
I'm sure she is, but you told me she's a VTuber, and I'm worse for knowing that. So, just I don't. It just I'm never mind. You're not that.
VTuber's your kryptonite.
No, Sonic is. But they're definitely like the red kryptonite. They make me do bad things. So.
Oh shit.
I don't know what's happening anymore. So, anyways, we're doing this. We're gonna go through. Not like I said, we're esports. We're skipping because that's just not our bag. Content creators. There's a couple of the ones we're gonna skip like mobile, VR, stuff like that. So so I think overall, I think there's like 21 categories we counted here that we're gonna go through. So,
Right.
Gables and I are gonna go one via one here. Gables, give me a second here. I'm gonna pull up Skype here, and I'm gonna do a little share screen so you can follow along as well.
Okay.
So there we go, Gables. Is that working for you, buddy?
Let's see. Yep, it is.
All right, cool. So Gables will be able to follow along as well as the audience if you're watching us on YouTube. So like I said, there's links to all of our stuff in the description down below if you want to click on that, or just look up Drunk-Nerds, Drunk Nerds podcast wherever, and you'll find us pretty much everywhere. But if you want to follow along on YouTube, you can there. So we're gonna start off here, Gables, with the first category, most anticipated game. Nominees are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, Tekken 8. Gables, what are you thinking here?
Dude, I think this is a no contest for this category. It's going to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all that I've been hearing across the whole past year here, or even like after like the friggin' trailer was pretty much dropped or so this past year and stuff.
Yeah.
People just clamoring for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We saw gameplay of that thing. We saw specific points inside like that was based upon the original Final Fantasy VII that were very much like in the realm of like, oh shit, this is actually something that we're going to be keeping tabs of come February of next year.
February 29th.
So, yep, a leap year, a leap day.
Yeah,
this thing released on.
Yeah, almost 4 years to the day. Man, my nipples got hard just you talking about that gameplay, and I started imagining in my mind. Oh, Gables, I'm 100% with you here. It's actually. I mean, I think next year is. I don't. I mean, it's hard. You can't really compare this. I don't think you compare this year to any other year. But um,
Mm.
we've had a really good stretch of years. I'd say the majority of the last, really since like 2016, it's just been really phenomenal years. I feel like this year might be the lightest as far as this. There's a lot of games with dates, but are with 2024 as the release year, but not a lot of dates right now. Um, so it's a very, it's hard to you look at last year's most anticipated. It's like, Jesus, what a fucking year this is gonna be. And then there was so much more than what those things were. And this is a great
Yeah.
list here, like Hades 2, but like I don't know, Hades 2 might that's to come out in early access this year. Is actually going to come out 1.0 next year. Who knows? Infinite Wealth, I know, is going to have a lot of like a Dragon's going to have a lot of fanfare behind that one. Star Wars Outlaws,
Mm.
what we seen of that looks really cool, but it's like
Right.
looks great, but I'm like, in the end, this game is just it's a Ubisoft game. So if this is going to end up being a Ubisoft map game with a Star Wars skin on it, who knows? Tekken 8 looks phenomenal for people that are into that.
Mm.
Gables
Mm.
uh, is super pumped for that one. But
Oh, absolutely.
I'm with you, Gables. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. I mean, it's one of my Final Fantasy remakes, one of my favorite games of all time. So I am so pumped to play the sequel. So moving on here to our next topic, Gable's best
Mm.
adaptation here. So this is like for TV shows and movies based off of video game properties. So we have Castlevania Nocturne. Nocturne? Is that right?
Yeah, Nocturne.
Okay. Gran Turismo, Last of Us, Super Mario Brothers movie, Twisted Metal. Um, I've seen I've seen three of the five. Gran Turismo I
Mm.
think is like automatic, like you can just like I heard it's actually just a fun movie, which honestly like for a Gran Turismo movie, like that's really all I need to just be fun. Just entertain me for I don't know, 90 minutes to 2 hours. I don't know much about Castlevania Nocturne. It didn't seem like it kind of blew up like the previous Castlevania shows have done. But I look at like Twisted Metal, like that's actually turned out to be a really great show. It's just like it's kind of like the Grand Children thing, where it's like it just needs to be entertain me. I ended up watching. I talked about it like a while ago. Like I ended up watching that show like literally in one sitting. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's like 4.5 5 hours. It's just like super. It just entertained me. It was just a good Sunday. I just like it was a rainy day, and I'm just watching it all in one day, and it was the perfect sit down, kind of go through show. But I think really it comes down to Super Mario Brothers the movie and Last of Us. Um, I I thought the Mario movie was was fine. Um, it was entertaining. Like I said, it was entertaining. It was enjoyable for me. Like things I loved about it was all the things like with like the little musical touches, the little Easter eggs here and there. But like as far as like a movie goes, didn't blow me away. To me, it's Last of Us is gonna win this one. I that show was phenomenal. They nailed it. I feel like everybody was pumped for this. Last of Us fans and non fans. Like it's one of the few shows I talked to a lot of people that know nothing about the TV show, and they were like at
Mm-hmm.
work. Multiple people at work were like talking to me about the show every week and like how much they're loving it, and like I'm like they were talking about. I was like want to hear their theories about what they're gonna. I'm like, oh man, this is so fun. Like to be, it's like when you like a movie comes out based off a book or something like that, or like a TV show based off a book, and they start talking to someone about that read all the books, and you're just like I was finally on the other side of it, where I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to next Sunday when they get to this part here or this happens. And yeah, to me, I think it's Last of Us is going to be the winner of this category. What about you, Gables?
I absolutely do feel like The Last of Us is going to win this category, and that's because of not only how much accolades that season one got, and also with season two that's going to be coming up fairly soon, but also it's just the fact that out of all the nominees inside this list and stuff, I feel like that this is like another no-brainer category because even though the Super Mario Brothers movie, that's the one I've actually just got a chance to watch this year. I watched maybe like an episode or two of Twisted Metal and Peacock, but I had no interest in even watching like Castlevania Nocturne and stuff because even though I am a fan and I did love like the first two and a half seasons or so like of Castlevania and stuff like that for Netflix and stuff, this one didn't really pinpoint any type of interest. And plus, they did change like a couple different things about some of the characters and also some of the things inside the initial show. This just kind of turned me off, so I never even bothered wanting to watch it.
Okay.
Gran Turismo didn't really have a chance to. I've seen previews of it, but the movie doesn't interest me. It just seems like one of those cheap cash in stuff for a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Last of Us is going to take this one.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't be stunned if Mario wins it. It wouldn't stun me, but to me, I just those are like it's and it those are the two, and I think Last of Us will win it. But like if Mario, it's to me, it's like borderline coin flip for me of like who can win it because Mario was by far the most popular of the two, but I think Last of Us
Uh-huh.
was probably like the better perceived, like reviewed wise, consumer like everything like that. I feel like overall was people thought it was better. So,
Yeah.
moving on here to next category, Gables, best multiplayer. So far, we're said the exact same thing on 2 for 2. Let's see if we have a breakup here. Best multiplayer game though, we have Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. How you feeling, Gables, in this one?
Yeah, this is kind of going to be a weird one right here because all these games, man, all these games have like different forms of like multiplayer, like co-op type of things, you know. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, you know, kind of like has that sort of like in there, out there and stuff where you don't even have to be like with the actual player
Yeah,
themselves in order to enjoy the game and stuff. I mean, you can help them with levels or something, but I mean, you and I tried it out during Extra Life, like online with each other. We helped each other out and
yeah,
stuff, progress through certain levels and stuff, and like and what's funny is you were in my game and stuff, completing stuff. I could see you actually go through and completing stuff, and then like in turn you saw me completing some of the stuff in your game as well.
yeah,
But I wouldn't call this like a great multiplayer stuff. I thought it was okay for some like say like Diablo 4 or like Party Animals, you know, it's like those could be like good in terms of either teamwork stuff or in case of Party Animals and stuff, just absolutely just like just shoot the shit with your friends and this and that. Street Fighter 6 I feel like does have a strong multiplayer. It
yeah.
definitely has a strong multiplayer, especially with the whole PvP
In the
stuff.
hub world, I see people
Yeah,
seem pretty happy with. So,
but I feel like that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be taking this category for best multiplayer. And the reason why I feel that is because when it comes to these styles of like RPGs and stuff, having a group of friends with you is kind of inside of this game is sort of similar to how you would do like say a D&D game in real life to where you build your character. There's different die rolls and stuff in terms of different commands and stuff. And obviously, I mean, I've heard a lot of great things about Baldur's Gate 3. Never played it myself, but I have seen the reactions and like the various stuff from other gamers that have played this game, especially with other friends, and they think it's a freaking blast. So I think that's going to be taking it.
yeah, it's a very weird list, I would say. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know if it's a good. I don't know if it's like is this a really good year? Or is this kind of a like Party Animals? Like I like that game. I thought I don't know. I don't like it's a multiplayer game, so obviously it's you have to have good online. But um, I didn't love that game that much. But I know people. I don't know. People love like enjoy those style of games, but it was on Game Pass. I played for a little bit. It was like fine, it's whatever. Um, I think Mario Brothers Wonder is like on here almost just because people are just shocked like how
Mm.
well it actually worked more than anything like
Yeah.
and how good it was. I mean, on top of like how well it worked, how good it was. Like it's just like I think maybe the first Nintendo game we could say that about for like good quality like online. And yeah, I think it's gonna win. But I was pleasantly surprised with it, and I was playing the game online, and it was just not like one major. Like I feel like it's almost like grading on a curve for Mario because to me what stunned me was like when you booted the game back up and you went back to the game after you closed it, you didn't have to like re-log back in to go online like every other
Yeah,
like Mario
really.
game or like or every other Nintendo like online game like or every other Nintendo yeah can't talk Nintendo game. Like every time like you play Pokemon like and you like close the game or whatever, you had to go back in and turn yourself back online. It's like why?
Yep.
Um, like it actually worked really well and it was fun. It definitely yeah, I liked it and like definitely like playing it and like people putting the signposts up or coming saving you or saving other people. I like that. I think it worked. Like I think they did a really cool thing with like what they can do with Nintendo Online and they made a really good they did a really good job with it. I'll say. Street Fighter Six, like I said, the hub world I've heard people really like. You talk about online is phenomenal, so those
Oh
probably
yeah.
there. Uh,
The whole
Diablo,
rollback stuff when you're playing against people, it's fucking fantastic.
yeah. Um, Diablo 4, obviously, I mean that game online is crucial for that game and rating and everything like that. It's crucial to have great online and but yeah, I agree with you. I think it's Baldur's Gate 3 in the end where like yeah, like I said, it's a D&D game with your friends. You get to play like online and it's like with it's a phenomenal game. It's one probably that's good. It's definitely. I mean, it's nominated for Game of the Year. We'll talk about it. We're gonna see it more because it's. I think this Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake 2 were both tied for 8 nominations. So we're gonna see it a lot more. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think so far I think we are. I think what that's three for three now. We have tied on. So
Mm-hmm.
see if we
Yeah.
break it up here. Gables with best sports racing game, best
Oh
sports
Lord.
slash racing game. We have EA Sports FC 24, F1 23, Forza Motorsports, Hot Wheels Unleashed, Turbocharge, the Crew Motorfest.
Mm.
This to me is like I so often we just see a lot of like literally F1 and EA Sports. Last year was FIFA, obviously, but FC 24. Those games were
Right.
nominated last year. Um, I mean, we do have 3 racing games here, which is nice, and 3 different style racing games. We have Simulation One and Forza Motorsports. We have the Crew Motorfest, which is like a little more arcadey of like but with like racing game, and then we have Hot Wheels, which is just like a crazy over the top racing game. So I'm gonna go Forza Motorsports maybe, but I don't feel great about it because I don't know. It came out and it did fine. It seemed like, but it doesn't feel like it blew the socks off of people like we were expecting. It's
Yeah,
kind of
that's the problem. That's the problem with this category because from this year, when it came to any type of sports games or racing games, I mean, this is a good representation of what the releases were like this year for those particular genres, which is like basically games that released like mid at best in terms of reception from critics. And I do agree with you and stuff. I would also pick Forza Motorsport for this because at the same point, it's like out of all of these different games and stuff, the one that really has done the strongest in terms of the not just commercial value and stuff, and also in terms of like gameplay stuff, is Forza Motorsport. Even though that's not as strong as previous Forza Motorsport games,
yeah.
from what I come to understand. Haven't never played it, but at the same time, this one definitely seems like I feel like it's going to be the winner of this.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'd be great to see the Crew Motorfest win it, just 'cause it'd be nice to see like a different, it's a Ubisoft game, but it'd be nice to see like a different, um, like a big racing game get involved and be taken a little more seriously. Because I mean, the Crew was like I talked about it like earlier this year, like it came out that like Ubisoft had mentioned like the first 2 Crew games combined had sold over 25 million copies, which who would have known? Like to me, you would like I knew the Crew was like a franchise, but I didn't think it was anything like to write home
Right.
about, but to come find like quietly this franchise is actually very popular. So I'd like to honestly like I've never played the Hot Wheels games, but I've heard they're phenomenal. Um, so I'd like to see Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 win it. Honestly, it would just be fun to see like kind of like throw a wrench in there every now and again. Fuck with the system a little bit. So I'm
Right.
personally rooting for Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, but I don't know. I think it's just like it's a little engine that could on this one so far. But it's 4 in a row Gables that we have agreed upon. Let's see if we break it up here with best sim strategy game. Gables, we have Pikmin 4, Fire Emblem Engage, Company of Heroes 3, City Skylines 2, Advance Wars 1+2, Reboot Camp. Three?
Oh
That's
boy.
crazy. We have 3 Nintendo games in this list here. I've only played Advance Wars 1+2. Um, I don't know, Gables. What are you thinking on this one, buddy?
All right. Well, I know I have 3 out of the 5 games here in this category. I have played a good chunk of Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, played a little bit of Fire Emblem Engage, and I have played some of Pikmin 4 as well. From this whole best sim strategy stuff like that, I would actually think that probably one of the better strategy games here is Pikmin. Would say Pikmin 4 because it presents Pikmin in a way to where it feels familiar, but it's definitely evolved from some of the gameplay aspects of the first 3. It feels like it's a lot more condensed and modernized to where it doesn't feel as readily frustrating as some of those earlier games.
Yeah,
Even from the initial things of when you're like exploring different terrains and stuff, I mean, you adequately have access to like say certain maps or certain like different things like you can look for and stuff. Plus, the new Pikmin introduced did put in some more layer of depth that I did really appreciate, the little glow in the dark Pikmin and like all that other stuff, But I feel like that one would be a winner for that category.
Okay. Yeah, this is another one where it's just, I feel like it's a coin flip. I borderline like why is Pikmin 4 in a sim strategy category? I guess I don't know. Maybe it makes sense. I don't know. I'd
It
put
is
that
sort
more
of
like
like a management sort of style of game. I mean, I would actually kind of argue with like say Fire Emblem Engage being inside of this category because it's more like a turn-based like RPG in that
yeah,
s.
but it's the same type of game as Advance Wars, so I can see why it's in
Right,
there.
right.
Like Company Heroes 3 is the same thing. Um, man, yeah, I was gonna say Pikmin 4 Gables, but I really don't want to do five in a row. So uh, I'm gonna go just to be different. I'm gonna say Company of Heroes 3, even though I
All
don't
right,
believe it's actually the case. But just to be different, we're gonna break it up, Gables. But mm, I'm rooting for Pikmin 4. Look at that cute little fucker.
dude.
I hope they win.
I think it's hysterical that we go like five categories and we're freaking thinking the same freaking thing like for each time.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's move on here. Best family here. Kind of always known as like the Nintendo category, but I think this year we
Yeah,
only got. Well, I guess we got three. I guess Disney Illusion Island is a Switch exclusive, unfortunately. Um, we have here Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Um, moving on, Pikmin 4, Party Animals, and Disney Illusion Island for best family game. Um, there's a fifth game in here, but it's not worth mentioning. Um, it's it's a game based off the Sonic fast food franchise. Um, anyways, best family game here. I'm gonna go Mario Wonder. I I heard Disney Illusion Island looks like fun as hell, but it's like a $40 game, and I'm like, I was actually really excited to play it, and then I saw the price point, and I'm like, oh wait, till it's cheaper. And I actually did see it was $20 recently, but I missed the sale, so
uh,
because I was gonna definitely pick it up, but because this looks like a Rayman game, but like with Disney characters, and that seems fun. Uh, Party Animals, like definitely. I mean, like, hey, that fits in this category for sure. It's like it's definitely a game for everybody. Pikmin 4. I think part of the problem is I look at I think a lot of people and myself included look at this franchise as almost like it's a game that's for everybody to play, but also you can play with multiple people.
yeah.
And I know Pikmin 4 is a two-player game, but I feel like that's going to hinder it here. Um, I mean, I don't know. Why is there a game based off Sonic burgers and shakes? I don't know. But I mean, that game sucks, I'm sure. So I'm going to go with Super Mario Brothers Wonder. That's my pick. What about you?
Honestly, out of all these games, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is the strongest opponent, so that's the choice I would go with.
Man, I did not see this happening. We're just agreeing on everything here. Normally, it's not like this. Normally, Gables and I are
No,
very
it
different opinions on these things.
absolutely. This is really not normal, but I think this is more of how the Game Awards nominations and stuff for these different categories end up turning out to where a lot of them have been fairly obvious. I mean, hell, if we're mostly guessing the same, besides you going through with getting company here was like three and stuff like that because you wanted to be different and stuff. I mean, that just tells like how weird and bizarre some of these choices were for these categories.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. But I'm like, man, like some of these, like I don't know. Every now and then we get surprises. Like It Takes Two winning Game of the Year and stuff. All right, let's move on to the next one. Best fighting game. Uh, we're gonna
Why don't
pick
you go
this.
first?
We're gonna pick the same one again here. I know it. We have God of Rock, which Gables. I heard of God of Rock, very little bit about it. You know what this
Uh,
game currently has on Metacritic?
nope.
A 62. Uh,
62.
yeah.
Okay.
So at least we didn't have Sifu this year, so that's something. We moved up in the world. Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2, which I heard is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Pocket Bravery, which I personally have never heard of before, and then Street Fighter 6. It's really a two-man race here. It's a two-horse race. I'm going Street Fighter 6. I thought Mortal Kombat 1, honestly, it's a phenomenal. The gameplay is great. The fighting is phenomenal. Um, I was like, I played those games for the story, just like when I used to
Mm.
read Playboy back in the day, I just read it for the articles. Um, and I really, but I just thought that story was just it started off so well and just fell off a fucking cliff. We got all the microtransaction shit that I think has definitely kind of hurt some people's feelings since then. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Street Fighter 6. It seems like it came out hot, and people are just pretty happy with it continuing on. You know what? It's been 5 months now, and people are pretty happy with it still. So what about you, Gibbles?
Honestly, considering this is probably the only fighting game I've actually played this year, yeah, Street Fighter 6 is definitely the winner of this category, and that's because it's done a lot of things right in terms of not just fighting game genre itself, but it is definitely one of those type of games to where it has a solid online, it has lots of different characters you can go through and experiment with. It is relatively fantastic for the whole like ease of use stuff in order to get people new into fighting games and stuff. You actually have multiple layers to where you have the tools and mechanics that'll help you learn better in terms of like how you can do your timing skills, how you can go and execute certain combos and stuff. This is definitely the gateway for people wanting to get into fighting games and then, giving them the kind of like the keys to like the home and stuff like that. Okay, here you go. Have fun with it. So yeah, this is definitely the best fighting game this year, so that's my choice. Street Fighter 6.
All right. Well, let's see if the streak ends here. Best RPG. Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Liza P, Sea of Stars, Starfield. I'm pretty sure two of these games are RPGs, but this is what we got here. Gables, I'm gonna let you go first in this one, buddy.
Oh, okay.
This is a good. This
Well,
is a really good category, honestly. I mean, it's like
this
five
absolutely
phenomenal
is.
games. Two shouldn't be there, but there's five phenomenal games here.
I'd actually argue that Final Fantasy 16 shouldn't be here.
That's what I mean. Two Final Fantasy 16 Lies P should not be in here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Final Fantasy 16, Liza P, I would definitely say would be loosely RPGs and
They have
stuff.
mechanics.
They have
Like
mechanics, RPG
every fucking video
mechanics,
game nowadays has mechanics.
but
Madden has RPG mechanics.
it's not the sole reason why it's not the sole like implicator and stuff that is the crux of its core. They're action games, pure first and foremost. But if I had to really give a choice right here, man, I've definitely have tried out Sea of Stars. I've tried out Starfield and stuff. Oh my God. I feel like for this category, man, I wish I played more Sea of Stars though. I mean, that game is pretty fucking good. But I would say Baldur's Gate 3 wins this category for best RPG.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. I think just because the fact that two of these games shouldn't actually be here. Um, Sea of Stars is just kind of like that. It's that token indie game that gets in here, but also I mean deserves it. It does. I mean I'm not saying like we see those indie games get nominated. Usually get one a year in game award in the game like the game of the year, and like I agree it should be there, but it's like you know you're not going to be there. But it's just like it's definitely one of those things where it's just nice to be nominated. And I feel like a lot of these categories this year, where you look at some of these games, where it's like seems pretty cut and dry. I do, I think it really is a two-man race between Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3 here again. Um, I didn't see I don't think Starfield's nominated
I
for.
actually kind of feel like that it's a two like horse race and stuff between Baldur's Gate 3 and Sea of Stars personally, because I don't feel like Starfield is of that caliber to where it's better than Sea of Stars personally. But
I mean, I put 55 hours in Starfield. I love that game. I've talked about it over and over again. I have a lot of problems with that game. Um, the reason I say that is because I mean it definitely comes down to also, um, how many people play the game. So there's like that little bit of that. I mean, I hate to say popularity contest for back lack of a better term. That's what you go with, I guess. But a lot more people played Sea of Stars or played Starfield than Sea of Stars. Um,
right.
so that's why I put it over that. I think Sea of Stars is definitely third. But it's like the reason I talked about when we made predictions for what we thought would be Game of the Year nominated, where it's like Starfield is just much like Final Fantasy 16. It's just divisive enough. It's definitely split enough where like it's definitely where people are just kind of like no one really thinks it's bad, but enough people are just like it's kind of like I just didn't click for me. And some people just absolutely adore it. And I was definitely closer to the I adore it than I was didn't click for me. But yeah, I'm gonna go Baldur's Gate 3, but it would be I'd like to see Starfield win it, just or see a Stars one of those two to win it. Um, just be funny have a nice little upset in there because I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna win a lot of different awards
Oh yeah.
this year. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. It'd be nice to see one of those two win it. But yeah, I agree. It's just Man, here we go. Continuing on. Best action adventure game here. Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Tears of the Kingdom. Um,
Tyler, you're up first.
what? God damn it, I am up first. Uh,
You're the one that
Gables,
has the most experience with each one of these games.
I've beaten all 5 of these, yeah. And I mean, I haven't really begun to even like think about what my top 10 game of the years will be because I everything like
Oh,
I usually start to like try to work on it this time of year, like try to like not like figure it out, but like try to put like my talking points together, figure out what's my short list. And every time I go look at like what I have on like my list of games to even like begin to work down, I just get overwhelmed and I'm just like, I'll come back later. Um, when we do our game of the year podcast in the year Gables, I might literally be working it out still during the podcast. Um, fuck me. I love all these games. All 5 of these games. I don't want to say will be on my top 10 list because who I mean but I mean they fuck man like this is a game of the year list right here. This like in like
it
this
absolutely
would
is
be
a
a
game of the year
this
list.
would be a game of this would be, like if you like just show these 5 games coming out in the same year like and it was like hey these are like the top 5 games that came out this year. Like holy shit what a phenomenal year. I'm like what if I told you there's like 8 more? I'm like oh my god.
Oh,
Uh um fuck. Uh it's just like trying to pick a favorite child, you know. I'm losing it, man. Oh, um, okay. I'm gonna take Star Wars Jedi Survivor out because just
okay.
I feel like enough people that played it at launch. Like I've talked about, like it worked. I had very few issues. And the issues I did have were like just weird like visual bugs and no like dropping through the world. No major like oh, I had to reboot the game. Like nothing major happened to me. So like to me, it worked for the most part flawlessly. But I feel like enough people probably played the game at launch and were pretty frustrated with it. Um, so I'm gonna take it out for that reason. Um, fuck me. Resident Evil 4. I'm just trying to make an argument in my head for why I wouldn't win, and I got nothing on these. I've shit. Man. Um, I think it's probably I don't have a good argument for why Gables. I can't tell you why I feel this way. I think it would come down to the final 2 between not for me personally, but just trying to work, in my head here. It's gonna come down between Alan Wake 2 and Tears of the Kingdom. Um,
Okay.
I think you can probably make a good argument for Spider-Man 2 in there. I think Resident Evil 4 came out in March, so it's been just long enough. These Tears of the Kingdom is one of the greatest games of all time. It came out in May. It's still one of the most talked about games of the year. And then Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2 literally came out a month ago, so those are very much in the forefront of people's minds. Um, but I think people were more surprised by Alan Wake 2 than like Marvel Spider-Man 2 is a phenomenal game, but it's just like, hey, it was like it's just we've just built on the bones of Spider-Man 1 and like that's not a bad thing. That's great. And that game is phenomenal. It's one of the
That's the purpose of a sequel.
yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to use that as an insult, but I feel like when you try to like make these arguments here, it's like what do these games do that's so different from everything else? And it's like, it's like Marvel Spider-Man 2 is like the one argument I could make against it is like it's like it's like hey it's a sequel, it's like hey I'm like I don't know you can use that as an argument if you want to against it. Um, that's why I mean I guess literally Tears of the Kingdom is literally built upon the bone. It's the same fucking map as well,
Dude,
but it's so much so much more than that.
4 out of the 5 games in this categories are building off of the bones of their previous entries.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean
Resident Evil 4 is the remaster of the fourth game. That
remake.
was a
It's a
sequel
remake.
to.
Yeah, I mean it's literally a
Yeah,
different. It's a completely
it's
different
a
game.
remake.
Yeah, it's barely a remake. It's completely like you just follow the storyline. It's a totally different thing than that original game was. I'm gonna go Alan Wake 2, but I don't know why. But I've delayed it long enough to make a pick, and that's the one I'm gonna go with. What about you, Gables?
I will go Tears of the Kingdom. I
Okay.
will definitely go Tears of the Kingdom, even not having played Alan Wake 2 or Marvel Spider-Man 2 or some. Because here's the thing, I do not feel that Tears of the Kingdom is going to win Game of the Year. I feel like that it's going to be winning a couple other categories and stuff, definitely getting some accolades at the Game Awards, and I feel like this is going to be one of two that's going to be in here. Because if not, then the second one I'm thinking is going to be going in case, it's probably going to be Alan Wake 2 because of the whole momentum that game has had since its launch, and also surprising a lot of gamers in regards to not just the quality of the game itself, but like just the narrative is unlike anything in a survival horror game that
Yeah.
people have experienced since then.
It's just
And that
games
both
general.
makes me curious and also kind of makes me wonder. It's like, oh man, a lot of people are talking about this. I should really give this game a try sometime. And
Yeah.
that's the kind of mentality you need to have if in order for like a game of the year, or like a game like one of the best games period in terms of like a yearly release. But yeah, gonna go with Tears of the Kingdom in this because it's a solid game. Definitely has a lot of like innovative like gimmicks and stuff that build on the backbone of Breath of the Wild. Definitely has a lot of good like solid stuff you can do. And quite honestly, at this point, I've spent at least over 25 hours playing that game. Gone past the first section, inside the second section. There's been so much stuff that you can potentially do inside of this stuff that is definitely more like maybe evolved and stuff from Breath of the Wild. That it's one of those games I keep myself like going back to and stuff from time to time. And just work a little bits like here and there and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I just kind of look at. I was like in my head adding up the time. It's like between these 5 games, I probably have 175 hours into them invested combined. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. Like that's definitely like the thing I've done in the past where it's like, oh well, people are gonna vote for it here, so they might like oh they think it's gonna win here, so they're gonna vote for it here. You know. And I get
Right.
that. I've done that argument in the past as well. I feel like though, like in the end, it doesn't happen as much as we think. Um, but I mean, I don't know. I have to go back and double check that, but I feel like more times than not, I did that. I'm like, oh, this is gonna win because people are gonna vote for this here, so they're gonna vote. So people will vote for this here. But I don't know. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Um, Next up, Gables. Man, that was a fucking tough category here. That one.
Mm-hmm.
This one. Oh my god, this one's best action game. Advance. What the fuck? Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, my sweet baby boy, and Remnant 2. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, so pretty good list here.
Yeah.
I want to kind of talk about a lot last week. I feel like we gotta do some fixing up of these categories and like what is an RPG, what's an action adventure game, what's an action game, because like what the fuck is the difference between like a Dead Island 2 and anything in an action adventure category? Um, Almost
Inside of this category, I'm looking at this list right now and stuff, and you know what? We we kind of had a little bit of complaints about the RPG category because it has like two games that have like RPG mechanics inside of there, which basically does not mean you should classify it as an
yeah.
RPG,
All
but
of these
it's more
games
like an
have
action
RPG
game.
mechanics in them.
Exactly. And especially like say Armor Core 6 and stuff like that, because that also could be technically considered a RPG
Yeah.
by the Game Awards standards.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week, but it's like I feel like when you look at like Baldur's Gate 3, and like Starfield, you can argue those games are built around the role playing mechanics of their games. So yeah, that's a role playing game, you know. Uh, just because I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to get in this rant again, but Gables, I had to go first last time. I'm gonna make you go first this time.
Mm. I'm gonna go with Armor Core 6 Fires of Rubicon,
Yeah.
only because of the fact that the gameplay is pretty damn solid. It's tough as hell. Definitely isn't like say on the same caliber, say like with an Elden Ring in that regards, because Elden Ring was like fucking phenomenal. It was unlike anything previous that I have personally played in terms of like a long-term action game. It
Yeah.
was just like a more hardcore-esque type of like Zelda in some aspects. But I like Armor Core 6 in terms of the customability and stuff of your mech and stuff, and like even like going through the explorations and stuff. This is the first time I've ever played like a game like say with big old like mech robots and stuff where it feels so smooth to go and not only control but to go and like just have this fast intense action stuff with these various like big old robot fights and stuff. It felt like something that I've wanted for a long time instead of a video game. To where, yeah, I was a big old fan of like say like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, right? The whole Megazords battling monsters and stuff, and like take out the monsters, that whole monster of the week category stuff. And also I was a fan of like the old school Godzilla movies and stuff, and like just those type of like big like kaiju movies and stuff. But at the core and stuff, I love the idea of like controlling my own like robot, just like just taking out shit, taking out enemy fighters, taking out monsters, doing this stuff. And this is pretty much one of the best games in order to kind of get that type of a fix. But in terms of like an action game stuff, I feel like FromSoft were made a great game instead of Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. I feel like that's going to be winning the best action game.
Okay. Um, yeah, I feel like Dead on 2 is like, I think it's just one of those things where like, people like that game came out. It's surprised people quite a bit. That was a game that we all thought would just be a trash fire, and ended up actually being a really good, solid game.
Yeah.
Ghost Runner 2 is just it's definitely it's a that game is phenomenal, but it doesn't have a huge audience behind it, but it's definitely got a big enough audience. Remnant 2 is a game I know is also really good. Um, Hi-Fi Rush, my sweet little baby boy. Um, I want it to win everything. It deserves everything it wants. Um, if it wants to go to Harvard, God damn it, you can go. Um, you want to go on stage and tackle Jeff Keighley? Go right fucking ahead. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I love you so much. Um, so I want the Hi-Fi Rush to win. I'm not gonna lie to you. That like I voted on some of these. I already voted myself. Hi-Fi Rush I did vote for on this category, but I agree with you, Gables. It's gonna be Armored Core 6. So I think
Oh
this might be the
damn.
only category that I think it's actually nominated for. Armored Core 6. I don't know. I think there's one more maybe. I guess we'll find out in a second. But yeah, I think it's Armored Core 6. So yeah. Moving on here. Best AR VR. We can skip that one. Best
Okay.
mobile. We can skip that one. Best debut indie game. Gables. Oh my
Oh, here we
goodness.
go.
So Viewfinder, Venba, Pizza Tower, Dredge, Cocoon. I have beat Venba. I have beaten Cocoon. Um, I have not played Viewfinder, but I've actually watched some stuff on it. That game is fucking beautiful, man. I think the puzzles on that mind bending, mind blowing. That
Huh.
way that game works. Pizza Tower, I don't know much about it, but I know people love it. Same thing with Dredge. I know there's they're not for me style games, but I know people out there that really love those games. Um, when I think about it, I mean, man, I would love Bemba to win that game. That was definitely one of the um, it's like you could beat the game. It's on Game Pass if people haven't played it, but
Hmm.
it's only like 90 minutes. It's just a fucking beautiful game from art design, characters, the way the story is told to you. Just making like it's just you literally making food and like getting the story told to you and like learning the history of this family and this culture.
Right.
And they just tell a gut punch of a story along the way. And I was in a fucking puddle of tears by the end of that fucking game. That game is beautiful. So I very much want Venba to win it. I voted Venba, even though I would say I like Cocoon more as a game. I love the Cocoon is phenomenal. Uh, really is like just a really great puzzle based game. Definitely scratches that itch of like I've talked about forever. Like I love the play dead games like Inside Limbo, and this is a former developers that broke off and made
Mm.
Cocoon, and like man I love that the puzzles are trippy, the way like the worlds inside the worlds, and the way you like just like break your fucking brain. Um, but I think it's gonna be Cocoon. But man, I so badly would love it. I would be so fucking happy if Vimba wins it. So that is my pick is Vimba
Hmm.
as far as personal, but I think it's gonna be Cocoon. What about you, Gables?
Okay. So out of this entire list here, I think I've only played a little bit of Cocoon, but if I had to take a guess in terms of who's going to win this category for debut indie game, I think it's going to be something that we're not going to see coming. I feel like this is going to be like one of like a sleeper categories that's going to either Pizza Tower or Viewfinder, and that's because of this kind of like for Pizza Tower, it's more of like say a arcade style of like game in that
Mm,
regards, but for Viewfinder, it's more perspective and also in terms of like how interesting some of the gameplay like puzzles can be. So if I'm gonna go and take a pick here, I am actually gonna go with Pizza Tower in this one.
okay, all right. I would not be stunned honestly if Dredge wins it. Like I think that's probably the most popular of these, but
Right.
I think that's probably the number two for me if I had to pick one. But man, go Venba, please. Um, next up here, best independent game. um, Cocoon. We have Cocoon, we have Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder, and then last but not least, the little indie published indie game, uh, owned by a multi-billion-dollar company in Dave the Diver. So I really hope, like, I no disrespect to Mint Rocket or Dave the Diver, they themselves said they're not an independent. It's not an independent game. They're not an independent studio. Um, I really hope,
Mhm.
just for the sake of this um, award, they don't win it. Um, and like I said, no disrespect to them. But I'm gonna go Sea of Stars. What about you, Gables?
I am also going to go Sea of
All right.
Stars because out of everything that I've seen with that game and also having played it, it is definitely the diamond in this sea of independent games that were released this year. I feel like this is probably the most strongest in terms of quality and also the strongest in terms of like replayability out of all these other indie games that have come out this year. So that's my
Well,
pick.
you obviously didn't play the independent game Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, so. All right, best community support. We have Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny's 2, Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky. Gables, I'm going to take this one first.
I'm gonna laugh my ass off if everybody decides to do a troll thing and vote Destiny 2.
I hope the fuck not.
But
They don't deserve it.
I'm gonna go, dude. It's Final Fantasy 14. It definitely is Final Fantasy 14 because of how much support and also how much like work they've done with that game over the past like so many years and stuff since the game's release. I mean, at one what was it? At one point they had to redo the entirety of that game in order for it to actually be successful based
Yeah.
upon fan feedback and stuff. It's Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah. Destiny 2 won't win it, and we talked about this. People were kind of pissed off when they got nominated, but we found out that the votes literally went in just a couple days before the layoffs and everything that came out of Bungie. So, if the votes for the nominations happened a couple days later, it wouldn't be here. It's definitely a list though where we see a lot of the same games over and over again. Where I feel like it's kind of like muddled in like the like ongoing as well, where it's like
Right.
it's a little bit of an issue where like what's exactly is the difference here. Um, I'm gonna go Baldur's Gate 3,
Okay.
probably here. I don't know. I think it's like Cyberpunk 2077 has done a good job, I would say, but the definition here is recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness,
Hmm.
inclusive of social media activity, game updates, and patches. I mean, Cyberpunk 2077 definitely fits that category, but it's mainly because I mean it's been 3 years of getting their game in the state it should have been at launch.
Yeah.
So I feel like it deserves a little bit. Like I'm fine with it being nominated, but I feel like it deserves a little bit of demerits as far as like, well, you kind of put yourself in the situation. So I'm not gonna like give you your flowers for that. Like, hey, I'm glad
Yeah.
you stuck with this game. You got it working, and like it seems like everybody's really happy with this game now. And like this game got working last year, but they've just been doing more updates and like totally
Mhm.
revitalized the game this year, and then had the Phantom Liberty stuff. But I'm gonna go Baldur's Gate 3, especially because like just like going like probably the most Im- game changing thing of this year for video games is literally them talking about interviews about how you can have sex with a bear and like all of like the posts about them and then just going with it and then like even the fact that like they changed like things in the game where you can like get to the sex stuff faster with every character and like stuff like that like this like they knew what this game was and they leaned into it and it's like
Yeah.
I don't think anybody did it like this. It's a great game on top. Don't get me wrong, it's a great game, but we see great games come out all the time, and that's just because you're a great game doesn't mean you're going to like do well. And they found something that hit that got people talking, and they didn't. they just kind of rolled with it, and they went with it in a good way. You know, they didn't like overdo it. They didn't fucking get weird about it, even though I mean it's weird, but don't it's like they didn't get weird with it. They didn't like kind of overdo it. Like they found it. They found their groove with this game, and like they found their audience. They found a way to talk to their audience, and they figured out what they wanted, and like they've nailed it. They really have. Like to me, like this game has been in early access forever, and it's there's been an audience behind it, but it's like this game blew up because of social media posts, and it's bigger. It's so much bigger than it ever was because of the talk of the community, and then the way they have
Right.
talked to the community. That's what has made this game such a phenomenon, is because of that. So I think that's why Baldur's Gate 3 in the end will win it. Um, yeah. Moving on here, Gables 2. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Oh shit. I backed out completely. Best ongoing. Here we go. Um, all right. We have Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like I think we see 4 of these 5 games pretty much every year in this
Yeah.
category. It's part of the problem is we don't see a lot of games year over year that like one year the next continue on be great. I'm gonna go Cyberpunk 2077 here, just because they did the 1.5, they did the 2.0 update, that came out this year that made some drastic changes like the skill trees and how like the game plays itself, and then having Phantom Liberty, which is like everybody loves that expansion, and like that's a big part of that is the expansions to these games. Like almost would like love it if they just did like best DLC, slash expansion thing rather than best on or do that as well. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people like some backlash to this because when I look at best community support, like I said there, like I think that's a demerit there because that's like updates and patches. That's what the game is. That's what that's about. And it's like I don't think you should be able to like win because hey your game come out busted and that hey we fixed it. This is different where it's like hey here's content we added to this game, and like all these
Mm.
games have done a great job of adding content to their games. But to me I think the
Well, yeah.
biggest has been that big 2.0 update and the Phantom Liberty update or expansion that came out this year. So how are you feeling this one, Gables?
I feel like the Fortnite's going to win this category only because, like, not only is it like one of the strongest in terms of like the best ongoing stuff, and people are constantly going back to that game, but at the same time, when they went through and just like kind of went back to like the origins kind
OG.
of like the OG Fortnite and how many players came back to it in droves and stuff, that in lies like how strong of an ongoing game that game is, to where if you just reset a lot of different things, you're still going to get so many more like people going and playing your game. I mean, you have to be doing something, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they had what almost 50 million people playing a couple weekends ago.
yes,
Like that game is bigger now than what it was, and like they keep doing. They've been. Hey, like I said, there's a reason why this is probably the most successful game of all time. Um,
yep,
and I mean, like they just know how to like change the game up just right. Um, and just adding like the skins and shit like that. Like yeah, I mean, they've got a business practice. They know what they want to do. I can't argue with you on that one. I do think that's like they're probably the 2 biggest. I think Cyberpunk and Fortnite as far as major changes this year to their games. Those are probably the 2 biggest ones.
right,
Um, Next up here, Games for Impact. We're gonna skip this one, but I just want to say
okay.
I've played Venba and Space for the Unbound. Both those games phenomenal. But I'm rooting for Venba on that one. Um, but moving on here, Gables innovation and accessibility. I think we're gonna skip this one too. But man, like
Yeah,
all these games have done a really great job. We have Diablo 4, Forza Motorsports, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6. So those games are nominated, and that's awesome. So yeah, I love that. That's still a major thing, and hope it continues on, gets bigger and better. Best performance here. So we have Ben Starr, who
mm,
played Clive in Final Fantasy 16. We have Cameron Monaghan from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We have Idris Elba who from Cyberpunk 2077. Phantom Liberty. We have Melanie Liburd. Sorry about that. From Molly 2, she played Saga Anderson. Neil Newborn, who was Baldur's Gate 3, and also was one of the main characters in Diablo 4. Surprisingly enough, there.
no,
And Yuri Lowenthal, who played Peter Parker in the Marvel Spider-Man 2. Gables, what are you thinking?
mm, oh boy. Honestly, other than like say Ben Starr voicing like Clive in some Final
My
Fantasy
boy.
16, I have not or any other person in terms of their performances and stuff like that. Oh boy. I think it's going to be going to like Neil Newborn, Newbon.
Newbon.
Okay,
Yeah,
Neil
yeah.
Newbon. Okay, from Baldur's Gate 3.
All right.
Only because that's pretty much the most vocal intensive game you could go for
Yeah.
the
Well,
the year. You know, you have to be doing something right. It's if you're just going to record an RPG with like literally hundreds of hours of content.
yeah.
So it's like
Okay.
I'm going to go with him.
Yeah. Gables, I think you're right, but my heart says Ben Starr, and and my penis says Ben Starr, and my mouth will also say Ben Starr. So I'm going Ben Starr. Maybe that's me just it's wishful thinking, but god damn it, I hope he wins it. I just want to see that sweet, sexy face go up there and get the award. Sorry, I started daydreaming about Ben Starr. We're moving on here. Best audio design. We have Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4. Um,
Hmm,
really great list here. Dead Space and Alan Wake 2. I mean, I talked about last week when we talked about nominations, and it's like, you are a survival horror game. You need to have, in Resident Evil 4 as well, you need to have phenomenal sound design. Um,
absolutely.
but there's one game, Gables, that is literally built around its audio design, and that is the greatest game of all time, Hi-Fi Rush.
Hmm.
So I'm going Hi-Fi Rush.
All right, okay, you go with Hi-Fi Rush and stuff. I'm going to go with something a little bit more unorthodox, and that's because have played this game with like my Pulse headphones and stuff. But I'm gonna go with Dead Space Remastered for that because even when you are playing this game, you're going and exploring the depths and stuff of the Ishimura, and you hear like all the subtle like little movements of scrapes and stuff, the yelling the things, and it just feels like like everything's like all around you and shit. You know, the whole 3D freaking audio and all this other shit just going on and stuff. And it just really puts you in the atmosphere of like, oh, okay, this is a dangerous place. I am not supposed to be here, you know. I did try a little bit of stuff for Resident Evil 4, like with headsets and stuff, and that also has some good audio design, but I kind of felt like the more impactful one was with Dead Space. I wish I would have tried like Hi-Fi Rush with like audio stuff because I know this game is specifically made for like you keeping track of the beats, you hearing little bits of like the patterns and stuff so you can go and take out like different enemies based upon how rhythmic you are and stuff. So I'm gonna go with
All right,
Dead
all right.
Space.
A little pissed off at you for disrespecting Hi-Fi Rush like that, but we'll get over it. We'll move on. Um, oh fuck me. Best score of music. Um, Alan Wake 2. You gotta go first in this one. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3,
Okay.
Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Gables, what do you got?
I'm going Tears of the Kingdom, dude. That has a solid musical track from it just has like all that a lot of that different types like a mood like kind of music in that regards. The one deciding factor I feel like that makes me drift towards more Tears of the Kingdom and stuff is when that trailer released, like before the game got launched and stuff. And it was some of the most hypest shit of like a trailer and stuff that I have seen in quite a long while, and it had that music that just hit perfectly with the seamless transitions and stuff. Like, okay, this is a fantastic soundtrack. This is a fantastic song, and it reflects really more in like implications of when you're playing the game because you'll have subtleties, subtle music stuff, like a little bit of ambience here and there and stuff. But it's definitely well produced. It's definitely a fantastic score, so I'm gonna go with Tears
Okay,
of the Kingdom.
okay. Um, fuck. I'm gonna man. As much as I love Hi-Fi Rush, I'm. I don't think it's gonna win it. I think like the licensed music. I mean, obviously it does include licensed music as best score of music here. Those are definitely the high points of the game as far as like how great the music is in this game. Um, I mean, the
Yeah,
music is phenomenal, like the end game and also the licensed stuff. But um, I've heard the score of Baldur's Gate 3 and I think it's really good. But it's one of those things where it's like almost like when you play the game in context, man, when everything together is what makes what encapsulates all of that. So I think Alan Wake 2, like it's some of the musical moments in that game are top notch. But I feel like throughout the entire game, there's like two moments in particular that are like, man, like the way the music is incorporated into the game are like, holy shit, it's some of the coolest shit I've done in gaming this year, if not ever. Um, but like the rest of the game, like the music to me isn't like doesn't stand out rather. If the old guards of Asgard do not perform at Game Awards, then what the fuck are we doing? Um, so to me, it's between Final Fantasy 16 and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Um, both games, I talk about the way you tie in what you're doing in the game, the build up, and the music. Both of these games made me cry. Uh, Final Fantasy 16, I cried of pure hype because of the music and the circumstance. Tears of the Kingdom, like the very final thing you do in this game that goes with the music is just like, man, I hear that and it's just like I just it hits me with like raw emotions when I'll just go back and listen to it. And like the Colgera fight you have at the it was at the Wind Temple, I believe, the one in the northwest temple. That
Okay.
fucking fight when it's literally a redesign of the first boss fight from Wind Waker. Is just
Yes,
I so fucking good. Um, man, god damn, both
absolutely.
these games. I'm going Final Fantasy 16, but by the thinnest of fucking hairs, I'm going Final Fantasy 16 because like, man, especially you talk about that. You talk about fucking trailers. That first trailer we got of Final Fantasy 16, where like they actually like with the orchestra and they found a way to work in all the different fucking um, titans. I can't think of the like um, Behemoth and all of them, like they found a way to work all of them into the song was fucking awesome. And then I talk about like I understand why they didn't get nominated for Game of the Year, but I wish it was nominated for Game of the Year just so I can have the Game Award Orchestra play Final Fantasy 16 music. So I hope it's
Mm.
there. I hope they play some of the music, but I don't, man. Or if they do an orchestra out there, Final Fantasy 16, I'm fucking going. Um, but yeah, that's my pick. Best art direction. This is for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. We have Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Brothers Wonder, Liza P, Hi-Fi Rush, Alan Wake 2. Um, I'm gonna take Liza P out, even though I think it's good. It's just, I mean, it looks gorgeous. It's very Bloodborne-y though, I guess. Tears of the Kingdom, I'm also gonna take out because I'm not. This is not a knock, but it is just the same art direction as the art design of Breath of the Wild solely for that reason. It's kind of like it's like my argument for like why Spider-Man 2 doesn't win action adventure, but it's like, hey, it's just more Spider-Man 2, even though I know it's not. But that's like, anyways, I'm just like, at a certain point, you gotta make up an argument in your head for why those won't win. That's the best argument I have. I'm not saying it's a good one, but it's just what I got. Um, I mean, Mario Wonder, the best parts of that game is the art to me, and just some of the crazy shit that happens in that game with the art. Uh, fuck me running. I'm gonna go Hi-Fi Rush.
All right, you're gonna go Hi-Fi Rush. I do agree that it is an excellent looking game. I will actually go with Alan Wake 2 on this one.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I can see that. Um, I I would Mario Wonder is probably gonna win it, and it's very deserved of it. But yeah.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No knock on Mario Wonder. I feel like that has great art direction, especially when it comes to when you get the whole friggin' Wonder
yeah.
Seed, try to get the Wonder Seed stuff, and like it just craziness like goes into like some sort of like weird like dream sequences and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's excellent in
Yeah.
that case.
Um, best narrative here: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, Marvel Spider-Man 2. Who you got, Gables?
Oh boy, this is gonna be something because I haven't even experienced the narrative of every single one of these games. But I feel like that it's gonna be Baldur's
Okay.
Gate 3.
Um,
I'm gonna pick that.
I think it's definitely in the final two. but I'm gonna go with Alan Wake 2. Um, the
Okay.
narrative is that game. Like I mean, the gameplay is great. The everything about. I mean, that game is great. It's phenomenal. It's definitely. I mean, it's one of the best games of the year, obviously. But I feel like what sets that game apart from anything else that we played, whether like from any survival horror game, Dead Space, Resident Evil 4, um, is the remedy of it. It is so unique. It's
Right.
so different than anything you will play. It when you play a lot of games, like sometimes like you play a game like I know a Kojima game when you play it, or obviously you don't even know it's you can play Death Stranding. It's like Kojima made this game. You feel that. You can tell by the way it's shot, by the way it's designed. Or you watch like a Tarantino movie, you can tell like all this. You can just tell by the way it's shot and the way it's produced, the way everything's done. Tarantino made that movie. And when I play Alan Wake 2, it's like you can just feel it is an Alan Wake um, fucking, or you can tell it's a Remedy story. It's totally different than anything else we've done. That's why I'm gonna go Alan Wake 2. Um, Moving on to the next one here. Best game direction: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm going with Alan Wake 2 again for that same exact reason. It's so different than anything else we played. I think I like so different than anything we played this year and maybe ever. And like just everything I said in the last one, it's gonna go for that reason as well. What about you, Gables?
Hmm. Okay, this is going to be a weird one here, but in terms of best game direction, I'm actually going to go with, and this is going to sound really crazy and off the wall, so bear with me. I'm going to go with Super
I don't
Mario
think it's
Brothers
crazy at all.
Wonder
I
for
think
game
it's actually
direction.
really. I'd argue it's probably the number two for me. So
Here's the thing, though, with Mario Wonder and stuff, in terms of like the direction of it, I mean, there was definitely a lot of creative vision that went into the design of these stages, especially when every stage is involved in terms of any type of like Wonder Seed manipulation and stuff. And a lot of the creativity in regards to some of these stages, especially when you're filtrating through like the foreground or background, or you're having to go and like ride different pipes, or like going through like with snakes and stuff, and like trying to go through certain courses like with rhythm like patterns and stuff. A lot of that stuff is so crazy over the top. It emphasizes the whole aspect of like weird Nintendo at its like very best in that regards, to where I feel like this definitely led to a lot of what made this Mario Brothers game fresh. It definitely felt like a fresh experience, because this is unlike any type of game in, not just in that series, but in terms of certain platformers in general, like 2D platformers in general specifically, to where they had an initial focus of what this game is, which obviously it's a Mario Brothers game. People played Mario Brothers games and stuff, but because of the whole creative direction of it, that pretty much emphasized something that was once, that was old, and gave it such a new twist that it really feels refreshing, that it makes the whole game feel like it's in the upper echelon of any other type of Mario game that's really came before it, bearing like the couple of Mario Brothers games, or the whole various couple of like Mario games that people hold in high regards, especially to this day. But it's definitely, if I had to say, because of their creative direction in terms of like their designs and stuff of this game, this puts it in the realm of like maybe top five Mario Brothers games of all time. It's like that's that strong in terms of creative, and that's where I kind of feel like this game could win this category. So my pick is going to be Super
all
Mario
right.
Brothers Wonder.
Well, I think this is the last one here. Last but certainly not least, game of the year:
Oh boy.
Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Gables, do you want to pick or you want to go first? You want me to go first here on this one?
I'll go ahead and
Okay.
go first. Before I make my pick, I will say every single one of these games are
Yes.
phenomenal in one
Yes.
way or another. All of these games are different in regards to what they bring to the table, what they have executed well, and also in any other year, these games could have taken Game
Yeah.
of the Year. That's the thing about it, because how this year of 2023 has been, we literally have like 20 games that could have contended for Game of the Year, which that's insane to think about. But yes, that's the reality of the situation. That being said, in terms of my like in terms of game of the year for what I feel like it's going to be at the Game Awards, I feel like the momentum is fairly clear. I feel it's going to go the direction of the game that's had the most nominations, the game that's had the most like emphasis on talk, and the whole aspect of how much popularity this game has gotten ever since its release. I feel like it's going to go to Baldur's Gate 3. I absolutely feel that. I've never played it. I have not had any type of like really any type of like interactions with the game. I've seen different videos on it. I have heard people talk about it in depth and how much they really much enjoy it because of how much choice and how much different things. It's basically the video game version of Dungeons and Dragons, to where you create your own character, you go on your own adventures. There are definitely certain quests and definitely certain things that will remain the same regardless when you're going and playing the game. But yet, like those tabletop RPGs, they have multiple different directions based upon what you roll on the dice board and stuff. If you roll a critical 20 or something like that, you're going to go ahead and get the best option available. But if you roll like maybe a 1 or a 2, it's going to completely blow up in your face, and you may piss off a character that you never meant to do, or kill a character that you never meant to do, and it's going to affect your entire adventure all the way through. And having that much choice and having that much replayability in that regards, it is inside, in my opinion, that echelon to where people love playing through Skyrim multiple different times, or like playing through like Fallout 3 multiple different times, or the Mass Effect games, or even previous Boulder Gate games. The reason why I feel the ultimate reason why I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be chosen for Game of the Year is because it felt like when it released, everybody was so surprised, or mostly everybody was so surprised that it was doing not only this well, but how long people have been talking about it even after its
Yeah.
initial release months
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. I've talked about this over the course of the year where it's like so many of these games came out and then like but something else bigger like something else the next big thing came out like just days later or like a week or two later.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing ever had its chance to really have its own moment. And it's like I talk about this year, only two games really had its own moment. Tears of the Kingdom
Yes,
and Baldur's Gate 3, where it's like Zelda, we had nothing
absolutely.
for a month before that, and even in June was a great month, but it was like we were still talking like it wasn't as big, but once June hit, it was still talked about quite a bit. And like Baldur's Gate 3 came out
Yes,
and like at the I think end of July, early August, and nothing for like a month, and like Armored Core 6 came out and like it just kind of bulldozed through it. It wasn't until Starfield
yes, it
came
did.
out that like it finally like something else kind of broke up the discussion for like more like Armored Core 6 had its day, and then we went right back to Baldur's Gate 3. Then like Starfield came out, had its moment, and it still felt like we kind of went back to Baldur's Gate 3 in a way. Not like we did not
Yep.
like obviously it took some of that momentum, but like I agree with you. We're like I think to me like these are like those are the two big games, and I'll say I'm very happy because like I was very worried going into this like this year Game Award wise. Like oh, it's gonna be so boring. It's just gonna be Tears of the Kingdom. We all know it. It's so exciting. It makes it more exciting now because like oh now we have like Baldur's Gate 3. We're like oh my god like we actually finally like some real competition here. And then we have Alan Wake 2 at the last minute. Throw a little monkey wrench in there on top of it. Like man,
Mm.
it's got that late push, that late momentum. Like these like to me, there's like these are the three that that I feel like are gonna win it. Like the rest of you three, hey, congratulations on being nominated, honestly. But to me, it's down to like immediately down to those three. Um, but I'm gonna go, and I don't feel good about any of these again. Um,
Right.
I'm gonna go. Fuck, what am I gonna go? Still working on my head. I had it when I was working my way to make my pick, and then I'm like, well, maybe not. Uh, I'm gonna go. Slow. Yeah, I'm gonna go Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Um,
Okay.
I was gonna say Alan Wake. Originally, I was gonna say Alan
Absolutely
Wake 2, but
understand.
I'm gonna go Tears of the Kingdom. It's to me, it's just it was a front runner in January, months before it came out, and to me, when we're done with this year, I feel like it's gonna be the winner. I don't feel like I'm not like I wouldn't
Absolutely.
like if you were like, hey Tyler, like, would you place a bet on this? No, I I would never, not God no. But I think that's ultimately, I think that's where it's going to end up going. So, but yeah, that is all that for our nominations, people. Um, so if you guys want to go there and vote yourself, you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's pretty. Man, what a great fucking year, Gables. You look at that list, and it's just like all those games that we
Yes.
just went through and talked about. It's like, fuck, man, what a so many great games that I have played, and there's like I look at there's like fucking so many more that I haven't played. So pretty fucking what a great goddamn year we're having for video games as a gamer. But Gables, let's get into what we've been playing here, and then we'll get on out of here. Do you want to go
Okay.
first, buddy? Or you want me to go first?
I want you to go first
Okay.
this time.
I have played just a couple more games, same games I played last week though. I have played. I finished up Cop Rogue City. Um,
Okay.
more of what I said. The game was a fucking blast. They've totally hit the 80s 90s cheese with the comedy and the humor, the overacting. Like just Robocop is just so quippy and funny. It's just I don't know. You kind of miss that 80s cheese and that 90s cheese, and like they do such a great job of like incorporating into a video game, like just the gore of everything as well. Like they did not pull any punches as far as like they're not trying to make this a rated teen game. This is just like no, this game is uh, very much over the top. There's gonna be a lot of gore. People's arms and body parts are getting ripped off. You can chuck people through windows from 80 stories high. Um, I will say the one like it's kind of like about last week where I was like I don't think about 10 hours in or so, give or take, and I think I ended up beating it with like probably like 16ish hours or so. Maybe I have to go look again. I haven't looked at my time on it, but I was probably in that area. And I'd say like my one major complaint is like um, I kind of was running out of steam at the end on this, where it's like I don't know if this game was like a 6 to 8 hour just like um, like almost just like more like on a path, more so than like, hey, like when like you do main missions, you are definitely like you're on like you go to an area and you're just there and you're on a path. But like there are like they do break it up and give you like, hey, you can go walk around this area, walk around like go walk around Detroit or go walk around in like the steel mill and like there's different things you can do in it. But it's like you can easily skip it. But it's like I thought the side missions were good, they're fun. But it's just like honestly after a while it's like Robocop walks so slow and it's like man I just want to get to the next fucking like I did all the side missions and shit like that. I found a bunch of like the collectibles and it was like I enjoyed a lot of side missions, but it was just like man, I got to a certain point where like I just want to. I wish I could just fast travel and get there. Like I do not want to walk across town here, even though the town's
Right.
like 3 fucking blocks and it takes you 2 minutes to get there. I'm like God, I've walked this same town 2 dozen, 3 dozen, 4 dozen times now. I'm like kind of over walking through this town, but like this game, like I'm not. This game is so great. It's like it is definitely like it's the what Final Fantasy Strangers Paradise of this year, where it's like yeah, this game is super fucking fun to play. Like the gameplay is surprisingly really really good, but it's not robust enough to like make you like. There's not so much. It's just it is what it's a shooter game, and like there's not like a lot of different
Mm-hmm.
mechanics to it. So like I don't know, like that's the one complaint I really complaints I have is like where's Stan and like there's not enough variety to the game that like I could see like if you're someone that like maybe like doesn't just want a straight up shooter game like yeah, you can fall off of it. But if you just want like hey I want to play as RoboCop and just fucking mow through people, games for you. Um, the other game I've been playing more. I talked about last week. I did pick up Super Mario Brothers RPG. Or is it just called Mario RPG? I guess. Um,
Super
Super Mario
Mario
RPG. Okay.
RPG. Yep.
I'm about 4.5 hours in now. I've gotten
Okay.
3 stars. I just did the tower, and I
Okay.
just got to. I just went up
Oh
the
yeah.
hill. I'm at the point now where I've got Peach. Um, I'm just kind of bored, Gables. I just I don't have anything bad to say about it. I think like I like the writing, I like the characters. I just
Mm-hmm.
I think the combat isn't that fun. And I know we talk about like it's kind of like it's very easy. It's like the game is built more so around the characters and the writing. And like I agree, it's good, but the
Right.
moment to moment gameplay, I just am not having a great time with it. I'm gonna go back to it. I'm not like done with this game because I like I said I am enjoying the writing and the characters and I like all that like some of the places you're going to, but it's just like I just feel like there's really no point in like doing the combat in this game at all. Like, because
Hmm.
you get so little experience points. So like grinding is kind of pointless in this game. Um, you know, like and like the the benefits and what's the opposite of benefits? Um, detriments. Thank you.
Detriments.
It's almost 1 in the morning here. Bear with people. Um, like they don't outweigh the detriments here. I guess we're like yeah, you can like time like blocks and like take no damage, but it's like you miss a couple blocks
Right.
and it's like you know you know one of your characters might be struggling here and like now I'm wasting items that I don't want to waste and it's like cool I'm gonna do all these fights to gain 6 or 7 experience points where I need like 150 to get to the next level. Not really worth it after a while. So I was like I don't know like I I don't know I'm just maybe this I think it's one of those things where maybe this game just isn't for me. But that's really all I'm playing Gables. What about you, buddy?
Okay, so like you, I have been playing a lot of Super Mario RPG. I actually beat
Oh
this
Jesus.
game. Took me around 14 hours in regards to do the playthrough of it. I mean, yeah, I've had experience playing Super Mario RPG before in the past, Super Nintendo version and stuff, and this and that. But I do notice a couple of different things of improvements for the better. One is for like the earning of frog coins, the currency, which before you couldn't even earn during like in the middle of the random battles and stuff. There was a supposed frog coin glitch to where it prevented you from like getting certain like frog coin like accumulation or something in the Super Nintendo version. But I did like the changes to where then you will be encountering like special enemies that'll be a little bit tougher to beat, but you can earn these frog coins. And let me say it though, when you do collect a lot of these frog coins and stuff, you can use that to when you go to like the tadpole pond and stuff like that, you can exchange certain frog coins and stuff for specific items. I do know for a fact that there's another little shop. There's like another little like a tadpole right besides like there's like two tadpoles right that sell you stuff in that toad pond, and one of them is based upon how you do for this whole like composing for this composer these little music notes
Yeah.
stuff, right? And so when you do that, he'll reward you with different types of cards, like based upon either alto, like yeah, alto card or something more like soprano card or whatsoever. And from then on, you can get like better like items and stuff that'll help boost up your team or this or that. In terms of the combat, yes, this definitely is simplistic. It also, like I recommended you do and stuff, is like you don't even need the level grind going through this type of game. You go through the specific places and stuff. There was like maybe one or two parts inside of my playthrough where I felt like I had to go through and level maybe like a little bit because I was definitely feeling like I was gonna be getting wiped out in like in terms of like I was in a section too soon, higher level monsters and stuff, and I definitely wasn't prepared and I basically wiped out. I had only like
Hmm.
one death in the entirety of my run in like 14 hours. But I did like the changes they did in terms of the graphical stuff, especially when it came to Booster's Tower, which is where you go for to get like the third star, roughly when you get Peach. Let's see the different changes I did like. The various mini games and stuff are still pretty fun, even to like to play through in this day. But I did like a lot of the graphical design stuff. I did like that they added the whole triple team aspect to the combat. I think that's pretty fun because it's like you won't know about certain like triple team moves unless you go and switch your party members to and from. One change I did notice that I did appreciate is you can change certain like team members on the fly and stuff by pressing the plus button and stuff. So let's say if Mallow Fate's during battle or something, you could switch them out with Peach and stuff, and Peach will act as the major healer. But I do like how, like in the original game, each character is really specialized after specific type of classes. Like I would say Mario's more like a red mage, right? Well, he'll do various attacks and stuff, and he'll do like certain like super attacks or some kind of like almost like a magic sort of attacks, where he's the jack of all trades, but he's the master of none sort of aspect. Whereas Bowser's more like a gladiator, more like a warrior or something of that aspect, to where he's bulky, but at the same time he has powerful weapons. Peach is obviously the healer of the group and like can go fight healing, but also throw out different types of debuffs and stuff on your enemies. And like Mallow being the mage, the black mage that fires all the elemental stuff, and then Gino being more like I want to say he's more like a not like a dragoon character, not like a dragoon class, but he's definitely I would feel more like a fighter in that regards, like a monk class almost, where they can go forth and put out like different types of magic attacks, but they're very strong physically. Having gone through every other of the bosses and stuff, once you get into the role that you got after the third star, that's where things start kind of picking up a little bit because you get to experience a couple different more aspects, like going to like say the whole aspect of getting to Monster Town, and then getting to like Star Hill and stuff, and then getting right into like the last different portions of the game. It definitely does make the game a little bit more difficult, but for someone that's going to go through like a first playthrough or something like that, I can understand, Tyler, for you feel like you're kind of like bored in terms of that. And that's kind of intended that way towards the beginning portion of the game, because now once you're past that point to where you're going further into it, it'll start becoming a little bit more interesting in terms of the combat. Well, in terms of like encountering enemies and doing this and doing that and stuff. But some of my most fun I've had playing this game has been getting towards the end portions of the game and stuff, finding the ultimate weapons for all my party members and stuff, like the ultimate armor stuff. There's this weapon that Mario can use called the Lazy Shell,
Yeah.
where you have to do a specific type of like side quest in order to acquire not only just the Lazy Shell and like the Lazy Shell armor. And what's hilarious about it is like Mario's just kicking like this big old paratroopa shell right at an enemy, and based upon your timing and stuff, it will do a massive amount of damage. But yeah, there are other types of items too that like other types of like ultimate items and stuff for each character and stuff. Like say Peach gets a frying pan
Oh,
that
yeah, I've
she
seen that.
that she could go through, and it's definitely her strongest weapon. But ultimately, after all that stuff, I really did enjoy my time playing Super Mario RPG remake. It definitely did plenty of good of the like improvements over the original. You can obviously like switch between the classic and the modern music and stuff. I really like the modernized like music. I really like how they redid the music in here for Super Mario RPG remake. But yeah, it was definitely a fun time. It's definitely fantastic. I can understand why a lot of people have loved it because it remained faithful to the original game. And on top of that, it did like its best to go through and do different types of improvements. There is a post game. I have not gotten too far within the post game, and it's supposed to be a lot
I've heard
harder
it's
in terms of
crazy hard.
that. Yeah, I've heard it's crazy hard too, and I feel like that's going to be one of those ones that I'm going to be checking out and seeing, okay, how exactly hard is this going to get? Because if you think something's going to be a cakewalk, and all of a sudden you go to the after game stuff, man, I haven't even done the secret boss yet.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was a fun time playing that. I did have a chance to play a little bit of the He Who Shall Not Be Named in terms of the game and stuff like that, and I've completed a couple different acts already as obviously the Voldemort of the whole Drunk Dash Nerds
Hmm.
podcast and stuff. And let me just say though, it's not bad. It's not bad so far. I mean, I do like the whole designs of the whole like artistic style and the whole gameplay feels smooth and stuff. There's not any type of major glitches or anything. It's fine
Yeah.
so far. I've only passed like the two major like acts and stuff for like the first and like the second sort of world things, but I'm seeing seven, so it's more structured, kind of like a traditional like game in that series and stuff. But at the same point, it's not bad. I will definitely have to play a little bit more to get my full intentions of it. But other than that, though, that's pretty much all I have been playing. I do have interest in playing some Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. So hopefully I get a chance to play some of that on top of whatever else I feel like.
Yeah.
That's just the thing, man. It's like with work, man, if I did had like a normal like a couple of different days instead of like being like a Black Friday, this and that and stuff, I probably would have played a little bit more of like maybe I would have delved into Kirby's Between the Dreamland stuff instead of just sleeping like a rock and stuff for like about 6 to 8 hours. But yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Well, very cool. Well, if you like all this, please like, follow, subscribe. Check us out everywhere. Every podcast service: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. Look down the description down below. There's links to everything in there if you want to get there real quickly. 5-star reviews, thumbs up, uh, shares is probably the most important thing you do for us. Whatever you can do to help us out, we really appreciate it. I was host, I was Tyler.
I have been Colonel Gables. And until next time, everyone, play whatever type of video games that you like. But most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun filled episode of the Drunk Nerds
Hey,
podcast.
Gables.
Yeah,
Too sweet.
be sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Fuck Sonic.